Okay, this is our daily study of Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers, for those who have yard site for tonight, the 7th of Iyar. Benjamin Aronson, Fanny Kaplan, Todros Greenberg, Isaac Mayer Indick, Nathan Laser, and Joseph Levine. May their memory be for a blessing. As always, a link to the text of the Mishnah will be in the first comment below. We are in chapter 1, Mishnah number 14, the sayings of Hillel. And this is a rather famous saying of his. Hu haya omer, he used to say, Im ein ani li mili, uchshani la'atmi ma'ani, v'im lo achshav emasa. So 3 easy to remember lessons. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? And if I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? Just 3 pithy, beautiful, simple lessons. So, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? Judaism is not so naive as to teach that you have to be completely altruistic. No, this is similar to the verse in this very week's Parsha, which Rabbi Akiva says is the core of the entire Torah, the main principle of the Torah. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Well, what's implicit in that? That it assumes you first love yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. You know how much you love and care about yourself? That's the basis for loving other people. And you cannot fulfill the mitzvah of loving other people unless you first love yourself. That's where it stems out of. Self-care and self-esteem is extremely important. And we see, sadly, that those who are sort of often miserable or angry or don't like themselves also lash out at other people. So it's actually important to love oneself. On the rabbis also say if you're traveling in the desert and you have a bottle of water and there's someone traveling with you and you only have enough for one of you, you're not supposed to give it to the other person. If there's literally only enough for one person, you take care of yourself first. This is similar to chayecha kodmin. That's the principle. Your life comes before anyone else. And similar to on an airplane, and none of us are traveling anymore, but we can feel whimsical and nostalgic about those long ago times a couple months ago, and hopefully soon again when we were on planes. What do they say? First, put your oxygen mask on before you help anyone else. And that's just a practical thing, too. You have to be, but it's a good metaphor, right? You have to be okay yourself before you can try to take care of others. And those in helping professions, not rabbis, social workers, doctors, nurses, are told this, that self-care is important. If you're not put together, you won't be in a position to help others either. So there's really just so many applications to this. But on the other hand, ukeshani la'atzmi ma'ani. But if you're only for yourself, obviously, if you're selfish, what are you? And that's a fascinating way to phrase it. Ma'ani, what are you? It's sort of like an objective existential statement. It's almost as if you don't even exist, because you exist within yourself, but you don't connect to other people. You're not part of other people's world. So what exactly even are you? You're just a passing, fleeting thing in the wind it's kind of scary, right? That has no continuity or can't even transcend yourself if you just exist within yourself. It's almost as if you don't exist at all. That's what this ma'ani, what exactly are you, seems to be implying in just 2 simple words, but very profound. And finally, if not now, when? That's a statement not to procrastinate. As I keep pointing out on every Mishnah, there's a whole school of commentary that when 3 statements together, and sometimes the third seems unrelated, but right, the first 2 are very much related. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I'm only for myself, what am I? But what is, if not now, when? He just tacked on a third thing that has nothing to do with the first 2 clauses. So there's a lot of different ways to understand this. Here's my sort of take on it, that rabbis like making dichotomies. On the one hand, on the other hand. If I am only for myself, what am I if I'm not for myself? So sometimes we Jews like to live within that dichotomy and not resolve it. So I think Hillel's way of saying at the end, resolve that tension now. If not now, when? I just gave you an interesting sort of dichotomy to weigh. How much should you take care of yourself versus being altruistic? But by the way, if you don't solve that, now is the time to figure that out. Don't spend your whole life thinking, yeah, it's a very interesting Mishnah in the abstract. One day I'll figure out how to strike that balance. No, if not now, when? You have to put these lessons into practice. Okay, there's also a famous Hasidic Rabbi Simcha Bunim of Peshischa, who famously carried 2 notes in his pockets, 1 note in each pocket. In 1 note, it said, the entire world was created for me. And another note said, I am but dust and ashes. And in this way, he was able to achieve a sort of healthy balance of self-esteem versus humility, right? And sometimes he'd have to pull out 1 note or pull out the other one based on what he was feeling. If he was too arrogant, you'd pull out the "I am but dust and ashes." And if he was feeling down in the dumps, he'd say, "The entire world was created for me," which is based on another statement of Pirkei Avot that we're going to see. Every human being should feel, I'm part of God's plan. Everything that happens is for a reason, and if I exist for the reason and for a reason, and therefore the whole universe could not exist without me. So, like, you have to have that level of self-esteem, but also remind her that you're but dust and ashes in the end of the day, and that level of humility. So, they're just classic examples of the balance that Judaism always tries to strike. And with that, we'll say the El Malei Rachamim memorial prayer. El Malei Rachamim Shofein Bamiromim Hamitzei Menucha Nechona Al Kanfei Hashechina B'Malos Kedoshim B'Tahorim Kazor Harakia Mazirim Es Nishmos Kol Azkaros Shel Halayla Shel Chuli Olamam Ba'avur Shemispalim Bad Haskaras Nishmasam Began Eden Tehem Menuchasam Lachein Bal Harachamim Yaskireim B'Seiser Kinofav Liolamim B'Yitzror B'Tzorachayim Es Nishmasam Adonai hu nachlasam yanuchu b'shalom mishkavam v'nomar amen. O God, full of mercy, who dwells on high, grant proper rest on the wings of your divine presence in the lofty levels of the holy and pure, who shine like the glow of the firmament, to the souls of Benjamin Aronson, Fanny Kaplan, Todros Greenberg, Isaac Mayer Indick, Nathan Laser, and Joseph Levine, in whose memory we study and pray. May their resting place continue to be in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, may the Master of Mercy shelter them in the shelter of his wings for eternity. May he bond their souls in the bond of life. Hashem is their heritage, and may they rest in peace. And we respond, Amen.